Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada the Engineer, with me, Mr. Lady Ada on camera control, broadcasting live from downtown Manhattan. That's where we do over kitting and coding and videoing and soldering, making all the good stuff that you love from Adafruit. But for the next hour, what you're going to see from us is all the latest news and updates from the world of making, hacking, and crafting and engineering and more.
Yeah,
Mr.
maybe,
Baby.
maybe we'll see. Maybe baby. So we have a baby with maybe a tummy ache, and we have someone who helps us watch Luna during our uh, show. But if we have to bounce tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to stop the show and we'll record the segments and we'll publish them on all the social media. Usually she's never really on sick. So we'll have to take care of that. So if you see that, I might go into the please stand by
Ooh,
graphic, which I've only had to use a few times.
sadly,
But
we're good.
yeah, but just so you know, if we need to do that, that's what we're doing. Rare, but happens.
We love a baby.
For y'all or parents, you know how it is. So if you need to take care of it, that is why the show will be very short, or it'll be an hour long. We'll see. All right. So let's kick it off.
Take it.
Yeah, tonight's code is FeatherSense, 10% off a native fruit star, all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Use it or lose it. We'll talk about our live shows, including from the desk of Ladyada with a little bit of great search. Got a highlight from JP's product pick of the week, some time travel, looking around the world, makers, hackers, artists, engineers. We've got some advanced manufacturing, made in New York City factory footage, some 3D printing. We've got Ion MPI this week. It is analog devices brought to you by DigiKey. We've got some top secret. We've got some new products. We answer your questions. We do that on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord or discord.gg/Adafruit. You can go there, and that is where you can post your questions throughout the show, and we will get to them unless we're not live. Can hang out there at all times, and it's an awesome community with a lot of people sharing and more. So as we get started here, we do have some freebies. So in addition to the code, you
Yes.
get free stuff. Ladyada, what is the
Tell you
free stuff
about
that
it. $99 or more, you're going to get that beautiful golden PCB coaster, which will keep your hot drinks away from, or your cold drinks away from your desk. Keep your desk nice and safe. No rings. Comes with 4 little bumpers as well. 149 or more, you get a free KB2040. It's an RP2040 based board that is pro micro pinout compatible. People have used it for keyboard projects, but hey, it's also a great small mic controller with the RP2040, 8 MB of flash, USB Type C, castellated pads, tons of GPIO, STEMMA QT port, NeoPixels, and buttons. Good microcontroller to start with. 199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. We love UPS ground shipping, and we just knew we negotiated, so it's a good deal. Check it out. And 299 or more, we're still giving away Circuit Playground Express, our favorite all-in-one development board. It's round, it's got NeoPixels all around it and buttons and sensors, and it can run Arduino or code.org CS discoveries, or MakeCode or CircuitPython or even MicroPython. It's a great all-in-one developer board for beginners to learn electronics and coding.
Okie dokie. And let's do a little bit of AdaBox news. We are almost done with our search, our bat signal for the parts that we've needed all along. Yeah, well, this is one of the,
Thanks, graphic.
yeah, we've used this in our AdaBox promotions. So we were able to ship a small number the end of last year in December. Please make sure your account is up to date with your address, any payment information. We don't charge until we ship, and we'll be letting folks know when we're doing a next batch. We had a batch that we wanted to get out by the end of the year. We promised, hey, like we should be able to do some amount. So totally can email support@adafruit.com if you want to cancel your AdaBox, box, or you can also do it in your account. Totally understand. We have thousands of people that are
It was a great time.
signed up who want to get on who can't because we have a limited number of AdaBoxes boxes we're doing. But we are shipping. We'll have our next batch out sometime soon. That's our update, but it is happening. Check out adabox.com. Has whatever updates. The last update was December 19th. That's when we think, yeah, around December 19th. That's when we did our batch right before the holiday. And folks got their ADA boxes. They've been keeping it quiet. Thank you. And then we'll see how it goes with the next round and next round. We should be caught up. This is, years in the making now with the part shortage, and then we'll be back on track. We already have the next ADA box kind of ready to go.
We're already, yeah, next one is already
So
happening, and it's a good one.
yeah, so will be fun. It just is taking a while. For those of you who are in the biz, this is just how it is with electronics right now when you have thousands of things and on a subscription service. So
We just got
instead
an
of,
email today from OpenMV. He's like, after 2 years, I finally have cameras again. And I'm like,
yeah,
yeah. So everyone's going through this right now. You'll see.
yeah, and instead of just saying we're not doing AdaBox ever again, we're just like, well, we'll just reach out to the folks, we'll let them know on our shows. We understand if people want to cancel, we don't charge until we ship, so that's a plus. But we totally get it if you're just like, no, I want to do other things. So no hard feelings. Okay, we do a bunch of live shows. We just did show and tell. Thank you so much, Liz, for hosting. Show and tell is every single week, 7:30 p.m. We post a link in Discord for you to show and share your projects. Put something on Playgrounds, for instance. It's a good place to
Yes.
put your projects, and you can share them live on our show. And we post a link, you join, and then we do this every week, no matter what. It'll be us or someone else from Adafruit. We host a show every week. Join us. From Desk Ladyada, that's on Sunday nights. It's in two parts. Ladyada was in part one from your desk.
Okay, I was showing off this Power BFF. So I'm designing a couple boards. So one board is a little add-on for cutie pies or Shao boards that allows you to use 12-volt DC power, either from a DC terminal, DC barrel jack or a terminal block, or like both. You can actually have power going in one from the other. And then a buck regulator that will convert up to 20 volts down to 5 volts, 1 amp. So it's great if you want to like power your project from, a big battery pack or a barrel connector from a wall, not USB. Or you want high voltages. I also showed off a design for a board that'll just convert NeoPixel signal to analog RGB LED, like really big multi-amp strips. And then finally, I did a preview of, it's not out yet, don't ask, Flopsy, the floppy drive board that we started designing last 2 years ago. And we're finally going to get it out because I can get parts for the power supply.
Okay, dokie. And then on the Great Search, when you use DigiKey to find the things that you're looking for, you show how you use digikey.com. Ladyada, what did you look for this week on the Great Search?
Well, for the Great Search, we were talking about this NeoPixel to analog converter, and I needed a 3-channel inverter that was very small. I didn't want to use like a big dip chip. I wanted to use a tiny little chip. So I showed how to use the search on DigiKey to find TTL logic and which family of TTL logic, and then what package, and how to filter it out from getting thousands of results to like we had like 10 options, and I picked one that was in stock and at a good price.
Okay, dokie. And every single week there's JP's product pick of the week. We have a highlight that we share here. JP, take it away.
Airlift Bitsy. It is an itsy bitsy Wi-Fi coprocessor add-on. Using the ESP32, you can then inside of CircuitPython or Arduino add some Wi-Fi or Bluetooth capability to your project. There's my itsy bitsy RP2040. And there's my airlift with the little short header pins on there. You can just set those in and set it down. I've specified a Wi-Fi access point SSID and the password. The itsy bitsy is going to go and tell the airlift to jump onto that Wi-Fi. And then it goes up to this boardapi.com every 15 seconds and grabs a new activity to do when you're bored. So right now it said learn woodworking. And now it's going to go query that again, says fetching JSON from Board API, grabs a new one, hold a video game tournament with some friends. My product pick of the week this week, it is the Airlift Bitsy.
That's weird. I guess there's a bunch of blank dead air there. Sorry about that. Luckily we were watching it. I think the video edit had some extra some. Anyways, JP show is on Thursdays. You can watch JP Workshop. That's tomorrow. And then Friday, deep dive with Scott Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific. Scott's back, 5 p.m. Eastern. Do check it out. Time travel. Let's look around the world of Mac makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. I've got a few things to go over. Also, even jump in on some questions, stuff like that. So there was someone who said, I've never heard of Adabox. What is it? Well, you can go to adabox.com and check it out. It's a subscription service that we send a box of electronics to you 4 times a year. It's usually a really interesting, cool new product that's hard to get in the Adafruit store, because it sells out quickly, or it's unique, or there is something special. You can
It's
check
custom
out
design,
custom design. There's a lot of different things that go into it, but it's also
no soldering
from a
required.
pre-order, because there's a lot of times it's a product that there's only going to be 4 or 5,000 of, so you're going to be the only one to get it. So it's a rare and unique subscription service for people who like to do electronics. I'd say if you're the most advanced electronics person in the world, you probably want to try something else. And if you're a super beginner and you've never done anything with electronics, this also might not be for you. It's a little bit of just a curious person that has a little bit of skills, but isn't someone who's so jaded that it's like, I need to take apart, things.
It's like an
And
electronic centrist.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's someone who's just curious about electronics. So I'd say that's where it ends up. There's no age group. It's just basically people are like, oh, this is pretty cool. This is, electronics.
We have a lot of subscribers.
Yeah, and that's
So sign up if you want to subscribe, because there's
Yeah.
no openings right now, but they will be as soon as we ship a
Yeah.
box. Usually, some people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, my yearly subscription's over. I'm not going to renew," and then
yeah.
lots
And if you've never done electronics, this might be the thing to get you started. But I usually suggest not a subscription service on that, because you're signing up for something. You start out with something in the website. Get a Circuit Playground Express before you you jump in. And then someone was asking, how come things sell out so fast on our website? So
like pies.
yeah, so this goes along with just time travel news. So we put some Raspberry Pi Ws, and some people get upset when they're like, well, I got the notification it's sold out already. How could 300 units sell out in an hour? Yeah, it
We used
does.
to have 400 units sell out in under 3 minutes.
Yeah, and here's
take down our
yeah,
site.
and here's the good news and bad news. The good news is when you order something from Adafruit, we ship it to you.
It's real.
When you check out, it's real. It's because we have it in stock and we're sending it to you. One of the problems with Raspberry Pi purchases across all the sites out there, not ours, most others, is they will take your money and they will not ship you something until they get stock later. That's not great,
No.
because you think you placed an order, but you just placed an unending back order. So, our support team and Lamore and I, we get, some kind of mean emails, because someone will say, well, why don't you take back orders? And that's the reason. They'll also send kind of a mean email. Okay, well, I got a notification, but it's out of stock. Blah. And if you look around, and feel free to look at, it's easy to figure, type Raspberry Pi W, Raspberry Pi 5, look at the other sites that sell it, and look at any of the comments online, any social medias, or even their own sites that have any type of comments. People are upset because they've ordered their Raspberry Pi back in September and it still hasn't shipped. So we just don't do back
That's
orders.
the trade-off. Either, it's like you do back orders. It's like you have an order,
and-
but you may not get
And
it.
to be fair,
Versus the way we do
to
it.
be fair, 99.99% of people, including everyone watching here, is cool and they understand it. They're not upset or anything. It's that 1% of folks that I get it. Like, life is hard and it's lonely, and sometimes it's sad, and sometimes this is the type of attention that people seek. They're just unhappy with everything and they take it out on others, and this is just one of the ways. I get it. Other companies and people let them down, and they're just like screaming into the void. But we're real humans here, so we just try to, instead of giving up and saying, well, we're not going to sell these things at all or whatever, we just try to explain it in real human terms in our shows and our blog posts and in emails and everything, and just say, like, here's what it is. So that's why we do a show every week. It's one of our chances to talk to people. It's like, yeah, there's no perfect solution to this. So what we've done is like, well, let's sell them when we have them, and we'll eventually have enough for you to real time purchase it. But what we don't want to do is take your money or have you have an order from 6 months ago. Just don't want to do it.
And that's how it is.
Yeah. So
We're
anyways,
doing the best we can.
yeah, so it's a little bit of time trouble. And like so,
Speaking of part shortages.
well, no, not part shortages. So in other news, kind of big maker news, this is my beat that I've been writing about for years. Congratulations, Lenore and Wendell and Bree. So Evil Mad Scientists, y'all know them. We've stocked their stuff before. They have lots of art and drawing robots. They have been acquired by Bantam Tools. A lot of people know Bree, former CEO of MakerBot, and Lenore and Wendell are moving to Peekskill. So Peekskill just got an amazing
see them.
IQ upgrade. Yeah, they just like imagine like having evil mad scientists move to your town. So they just got like, you know, two of the most brilliant, amazing people moving to a location.
They're so creative too.
They're in New York, so that's good for our team. Lenore, Wendell are going to be CTO and COO of Bantam Tools. They're going to be using their smarts to feature and sell their popular drawing and handwriting machines, and they'll be able to do a lot of cool things for artists and educators.
Good for them.
Yeah, this is great. They let me know. They're just like, hey, because we've been friends probably for like 25 years now. It's been a long time. They're like, hey, like, can we talk to you on the phone real quick? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And figured it was something interesting like this. And let me go over to the website. You can go to Evil Mad Scientist Laboratories. You can just type Evil Mad Scientists online, and you can try to see what comes up, but it'll be them. And let me just find my browser here. I have a browser. That's not a browser. Let me find browser. Browser. Yeah. So you can check them out. Bantam Tools is this cool. It was before it was called Other Mill.
Yeah.
And we knew all those folks. So I proposed an idea to them to do like an interview, since we used to do a Maker Business show. But you can check it out. You can check out the things that Bantam makes as well.
Ooh, more drawing robots.
So in case you're wondering, you know, what we think about this, this is an amazing, great home for Lenore and Wendell. This is a fantastic treat for all of us who like the type of things that they make. They'll have, my guess is, the resources and support to do more of the type of drawing robots and handwriting robots they want to do. I really like what Bree's building in Peekskill. It's not only like a company, but it's a cause and a business and a mission. So I think it'll be neat to see what happens next. So if we can get them on the shows, we will. I want to do like a 10 questions in 10 minutes type thing, because I know the attention spans are small. But congrats all around to Lenore and Wendell. They've been someone we've leaned on for ideas, suggestion, and advice for like open source hardware. Wendell, you know, for the folks who don't know, Wendell and Lenore and Lemore were pretty much responsible for getting what it was. It was it was CADSoft's EagleCAD
XML output,
and we convinced them to allow XML export, and that really unlocked a lot of things for KiCad later.
Yeah, because you could import
And
KiCad.
yeah, there was a lot of things that, you know, goes on in this. Like, I would love to make a Maker's Almanac of the things that's happened over the last 20 years. Someone mentioned Open Circuits is a great book, co-authored.
I think so. Wendell worked on the original open source hardware definition.
Yeah. So there's
Lenore.
So there's a lot of things going on, and the fact that they're moving to New York is really helpful. Because I think being in a location together, because there is a factory. So congrats all around. That's super cool. Okay. Other news that I wanted to talk about is we have an update to our website. We have a Works with Whippersnapper.
Yes.
That I wanted to show. So if you gotta go back to the browser, browser.
Yeah.
So if you go to our website, adafruit.com, and you search for something, I search for feather.
Yeah.
If you look at the results on the side, now you know if it works with Whippersnapper, and these are all the boards. Whippersnapper is our low code, no code, IoT online service, free, that lets you use electronic circuit boards to do IoT projects. So easy. Someone will say you're making it too easy.
And we're going to add the sensors too. Right now we're just doing the dev boards.
Yeah.
That work. And again, no code. You just go to use a web browser only, and you can set up and do IoT projects instantaneously, in minutes, seconds. But we love Whipper because it's great. A lot of people want to do IoT projects, but they're like, I don't want to learn Azure. I don't want to learn AWS.
Yeah.
You can do it, but it's hard.
So
You want to get started quickly.
the way what we do Whippersnapper, the boards that work with it that Adafruit has, we're able to see with our search. And so you can match those up. So you're like, oh, I want to do low code, no code, easy, super fast Whippersnapper IoT projects. You can see what boards work, and then, you know, purchase them, or you can see which ones are compatible. There's other boards that work with all this. It's not from Adafruit. So do check it out. So that's our time travel news for the week. Let's do a little bit of Python hardware. Speaking of Python on hardware. Okay, Ladyada. Code plus community, our newsletter, Adafruit Daily, sign up. We have a completely separate website because we don't want you to be spammed or even think that we spam you. Adafruit.com is where you buy stuff. Learn.adafruit.com is where you learn stuff. And Adafruit Daily is where you subscribe to newsletters.
And Playground is where you make show off stuff
Yeah.
you made.
So the newsletter, you don't have to subscribe. You can even read it on the website. You get an RSS feed. It's on GitHub. We got every way. So this week on the newsletter, there's benchmarking Adafruit Metro M7 versus Raspberry Pi Pico Ladyada. This is kind of cool. What is this? Why is this cool?
This is cool. Okay, so CircuitPython, look, I'm never going to say CircuitPython is the fastest running code, but it's definitely the fast way to develop code. It's a lot faster than C or assembly because you're not spending all your time compiling and uploading your, it's interpreted, so it's instantaneously executed. But because there is a slowdown with interpreted code, there always is. A lot of people are like, well, I want to have, what's the fastest chip that can run the code because maybe for some application speed is important. And it's, they don't want to write any C code that gets called from Python. So two really popular chipsets is one is the Metro M7. We've kind of, we did this as a partnership with DigiKey and NXP. Thank you to them for sponsoring the board development. And this is a Metro shape board that has the RT1011, and the RT1011 runs at 500 megahertz. It's a Cortex M7, and so this is a beefy chip. It's high frequency and a pretty powerful core with a floating point unit. So it's actually great for CircuitPython. Also has a good amount of RAM. But a lot of people also have a Raspberry Pi Pico, and that's a Cortex M0 running at about like 130 megahertz. And so people are like, well, how much faster is the M7? And it's like, well, it's probably going to be like 4 times faster, but it actually depends. If you're using the floating point unit, it's going to be even more faster.
GitHub.
Yeah. So here's a really nice benchmark test that shows a lot of different things that you can do each application and how long it takes to do like a repetitive test. And you do this operation 10,000 times, and then so it takes a couple seconds, and you can compare it. And in general, the M7 is about 5 to 8 times faster on almost everything, which makes sense because it's about 4 times faster on the speed, and then the chip is a new model chip, so it's going to give you another 2 or 3 times. But check it out. And also, what I really like is they have a laptop as well. And that's kind of fun because it's just like, well, how much faster is it on a computer? And it's like computers are very, very good at running interpreted code because you have like gigahertz multi-core processors.
Yeah, and this is like, not a rant or anything, but just like one of the things I noticed. So when folks are like, hey, like, cool, I'm doing Python on microcontrollers, the idea that that's going to be the most optimized bare metal way to do something is not the point of doing interpretive languages on hardware. It's so you can do things in a development process that's fast as possible. Later on, you're always going to do stuff. If you do Arduino, you're going to write C code later. If you do CircuitPython, you'll probably do other stuff later. But the chips are fast enough, and you'll be able to do a lot more. And then you can optimize later. Just like hardware, sometimes you have a development board that has all the things in the world, but then when you go to manufacturing, it's only the things that are, bare minimum. So there's no intention of like, hey, this is going to be the fastest thing in the world, but it is pretty fast. So that's kind of cool too. But it's not the intention to be the benchmark winner of every single thing. But it is interesting to check out.
But this is still good to know if you're running something on the Pico and you're like, oh man, like this for some reason you need a faster computation, and you're like, well, how much faster would the M7 be? This can give you an idea without having to go buy hardware.
Yeah.
So thank you. It's also a community member did this. We didn't do this. That's very nice.
Yeah. Also, if you're into CircuitPython, we do posters for each version, or we try to. We have a new poster vendor, which is
the posters are cheaper.
Yeah. It's here's one of the things. People were doing like NFTs and digital stuff. We never did.
Posters.
Yeah, we like to do physical posters. It's just hard to find someone. It's hard to find someone in the U.S. who's doing posters at a reasonable price that we can get tubes from. There's some packaging companies that people don't like. So the tubes that they come in are from Uline, if you're not a fan of that company. There's all sorts of minefields that you have to like navigate around when you do anything. But we have a lowest cost poster we can get with tubes from a company. It's all local stuff, so hopefully y'all will enjoy it. And then a little bit of a note, it's Circuit Python 2024 time. If you go to adafruit.com/Circuit Python 2024, you can see our call to the community. What do you want to see in Circuit Python?
Stuff that you wanted previous years. Some of it got
Yeah,
done.
you can look at the previous years and see what you asked for and if it got in there. It's getting to the point where it's really advancing. You can do lots of different things. So tell us what's interesting, what you want to see more of. I really like all the screen stuff we're doing. You can basically make a full computer. So seeing more easy ways to kind of mix and match, like I've got a Circuit Python powered keyboard and a screen and a mouse and I got all these different things.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Got all these different things. What's the thing that you would like to see? Project examples are a really good idea. And then just look around at the projects that are out there and just be like, oh wow, this is like really neat. I'd like to do this. I would see it in this programming language. I like to see it in like Circuit Python. That always helps us. Okay, so Adafruit Daily delivered to you at your inbox every single week. Don't forget adafruitdaily.com. Okay, I've got some open source hardware news.
Oh,
it is a newsy night.
boy.
Yeah,
It's a newsy night.
it's a newsy night. Congratulations, Thea Flowers is the new Open Source Hardware Association board president.
Yay!
Yeah, the term for like these things are like insider baseball, like that's what people say. It's like, so I've just been around this forever, so is Ladyada. So OSHWA is the only open source hardware organization that does certification. There's 2,600 and something open hardware designs. Adafruit has about 700 plus.
Yeah.
SparkFun has about 500 plus. That's the two largest amounts, and then there's thousands of others that make up the most of it. The rest of it, the long tail of open source hardware. And so you could check out OSHWA and you could see the certifications. There's lots of ways to say you're open source. You could say it, you could put a logo on it. Turns out a lot of companies are doing that, but they're really not. But once you publish your files and get it certified, it really is open source hardware. So, whether you agree with how organizations do stuff or should you even participate in things, if you want to do open source hardware and send a signal to your community, it really is open source. This is one of the ways. This is why we donate to the Open Hardware Summit. There is an Open Hardware Summit this year. We just emailed them and said we are going to be a sponsor. So you can check that out. It's 2024.oshwa.org. It's in Canada, and you'll be able to see lots of folks who do open source hardware. I will tell you why I'm personally excited about Thea Flowers being the OSHWA board president. It's because Thea runs an open source hardware company in the US and ships electronics and is a business and a cause. And I think that this is just like, it's not criticism, but I think this is really helpful because sometimes the focus on what an organization like OSHWA does is not around businesses. And I get it because they're more into nonprofits and more inclusion efforts. Get it. However, hardware is a business. And to have someone who understands that you have to sell things, there's supply chain, and also you're advertising something as open source hardware, and that means something, and there's value. Yeah,
in the game.
Yeah, there's value behind it. So I really like that they in particular has the experience and knows what it's like to be an open source hardware company. I'll give you one example. We're noticing that everyone's using AI tools for their like Copilot, but people aren't citing them in their published open source code that they're using these things. So we're like, well, how will we do this? A lot of the ChatGPT stuff is trained on the Morse code. So we're like, well, let's just disclose in our README file that we generated or worked with the OpenAI ChatGPT service for this code, and we link to the session so you can see it exactly. And then we know we credit it. And things are going to change. But I think someone like Thea, who's in this world and sees this and also is good about crediting and knows all the things that are going on in the 3D printing world. This is a topic that is going to come our way sometime, whether it be software, how do you credit AI code, or hardware. When you start to say to something, I want a battery and a screen and I want it to do this, you might get a schematic. How does that get credited? So I think that these new frontiers of where open source hardware is going, whether you like it or not, we need people that are knee deep in it, and Thea is, I think, one of the people that can help lead the way. Lamore and I can't do stuff like this because it would just be too big of a conflict of interest for us. Because
and I got a lot of stuff going on.
well, just as much like I'm just like, boy, I write about these things, but I obviously it's on Adafruit and I do all sorts of disclosures. But when there's things that have events and more, and you're kind of speaking for a big community, that's where it's like I'd really like to see someone who's like on other boards, who does stuff with the Python Software Foundation.
Look, I like Michael. We hang out in Weinberg, but I'm also glad that he gets a break. It's like
well,
enough.
The former president was the lawyer who's really good about copyright, trademark, patent, and that's where the certification project was driven by. So this is all really good news. I'm really excited. Congratulations, Ashra. You got a great person. Looking forward to the summit, and we're sponsoring. We'll be sending in our check shortly. Okay. Other news in the world of open source hardware. We're up to 600 redesigns.
Nice graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have about 630 designs that are in the shop. I actually thought it was 400, but it turns out it's 600, more than I thought. And about 100 of them have been discontinued, which is why there's 700 certifications, but only 630 or so. In the store, because there's 100 boards got BMP
we'll get the word out. But one of the reasons we're talking about hey, we did this many redesigns, is because I think a lot of electronic makers, just getting back to what I was talking about, people who do and make and ship hardware, is I think they were really discouraged and frustrated, like, well, what are we going to do? And we wanted to show that there is like a little bit of a grind to it, but we did it 600 later.
Done, by the way. It's like I have the MagTag and the Pi TFTs. We'll talk about the Feather Sense, and and then next week the Clue. Both got revised, but I'm actually like kind of almost pretty much done. The last few are tough because they're like I really have to do a lot of part swaps, a lot of firmware changes. But it's been a grind. I started this about a year and a half ago. Phil's been very patient with me. While I've been working on this big project. It's one of the biggest projects I've worked on.
We also had a kid, so there was like juggling all this stuff in a company. We have a big move we're going to be doing soon. So there's a lot of things going on, but what we wanted to do, it's kind of the theme of the show. Instead of just quitting and saying, well, we can't get parts, that's it, we're done.
I just did like 2 a day.
We decided to redesign 600 plus products. It's going to be almost 800 altogether. So you can have electronics. And then for us, as there's geopolitical issues, whether you name it, that's going to happen, the planet Earth and the people on it will be able to have more options for, okay, that chip's not available, no problem. That chip's not available, no problem. COVID changed a lot of things. Part shortage changed a lot of things. You get beat down, you get up, dust yourself off, and just hit the CAD tools and restart your redesigns. Speaking of, we have a bunch of guides.
Yeah, people came back from
what do we got going on Learn?
Okay, well, the Memento camera guide's been, we keep updating it. Today, Brent added a page on people who want to use Platform IO to program the Memento camera board. Especially if you want to do Arduino programming or C programming. The Arduino IDE is quite slow compiling because there's just so much code in the Arduino ESP board development package for camera stuff. You can do it, but it takes quite a few minutes. Platform IO is very, very fast. We love it. We've donated to them. It's to support them. And we show how to set up Platform IO to do that. So it's for very advanced users, but maybe handy. Erin, this is from a previous AdaBox LED.
I'm gonna play a short video after this.
Yeah, she just shows how to actually get spread animation. She's like, we don't show how to do that. And I'm like, oh, we just forgot. So little 5x5 pixel or 6x6 pixel animations that you can create on your computer and then download as a sprite sheet and play on your LED graphics. And then now, Pedro, you sent over a while ago like a cool NeoPixel fidget toy, and I was like, oh yeah, we should make one. So the ANO rotary encoder, it's like the iPod wheel, and then a NeoPixel that swirls around. It's an electronic fidgety toy. And also we've been, with the Memento, we've been updating the camera images with CircuitPython guide for like generic camera stuff, how to use filters. And I think that's it for this week.
Yep. So I'm going to play this video from Erin, and then we'll see you on the other side.
Create custom animated graphics for your LED glasses. Make silly eyes that move, wink, or wiggle. Let your imagination run wild. Design your animated eyes using Piskel, a free online sprite sheet generator. Choose your color palette, create your graphics, and download them to your computer. Our CircuitPython code does the rest. Save the images and code to your iLights controller, and you're ready to glow. Tilt your head to cycle through the images using the iLights onboard accelerometer. This board has lots of features and sensors, so you can go wild. See the full build tutorial on the Adafruit learning system, and hit that subscribe button for more fun learning projects.
Okay, and then we're just going to roll right into some manufacturing footage from Adafruit in a minute, a New York minute. And that's a little bit of a view of the Adafruit factory. So 3D printing, we're going to play these videos back to back. It's the fidgety type thing.
Fidget toy.
And then we got a speed up, winter edition. See you on the other side.
You can build a portable LED fidget game with NeoPixels and CircuitPython. This project uses an ANO rotary encoder to move an LED along a 24 NeoPixel ring. As you scroll the encoder wheel, the LED moves around the ring. You can press and hold the center button to go into gamer mode, where you can play an LED chase game. We think it's a fun way to fidget with NeoPixel LEDs and an iPod Classic-like scroll wheel. All of the electronics are housed in a snap-fit 3D printed enclosure. Powered by the Adafruit Feather RP2040, the ANO rotary encoder connects via STEMMA QT, making it easy to build. The code is written in Adafruit's CircuitPython using the NeoPixel library. With the Seesaw library, you can control rotary encoders and buttons over I2C. In the code, the directional buttons are used to change the color of the LEDs, while the center button lights up the whole ring. If you press and hold the center button, it activates the game mode. We think this is an interesting way to interact with NeoPixel LEDs using rotary encoders. The enclosure can be 3D printed without any support material using your favorite PLA filament. The Feather RP2040 and ANO rotary encoder breakout are secured with machine screws, while the NeoPixel ring snap fits into the circular grid. For a full step-by-step tutorial on building this project, be sure to check out the guide on learn.adafruit.com. The 3D printed circular grid isolates each NeoPixel, keeping the light inside each segment. A 3D printed diffuser and clear PLA softens the super bright LEDs and snap fits into the grid. A CNC piece of black LED acrylic offers a soft and even glow that looks really nice when fully illuminated. We had a lot of fun putting this project together and hope you're inspired to use CircuitPython for your next electronics project.
All right, and don't forget on Wednesdays you can tune into 3D Hangouts with Noe and Pedro. Learn how to make all that and more. The longest running 3D printing show in the world. Let's do a reminder. Code is FeatherSense. There's also all that free stuff. Let's do INPI.
Yep.
on MPI.
Eye on NPI, brought to you by DigiKey. Thanks, DigiKey. Analog Devices is what the Eye on NPI is this week, and that's the new product introductions. That's what NPI stands for. Ladyada, what is the Eye on NPI this week?
I'm glad you asked. It's a two-parter. It's the Max Ref SD 78 camera, which it's like a long number, but really it's a dev board for the Max 78,000, which is a Cortex M4 processor with machine learning convolutional neural network built in. And this is a cool, like all-in-one camera and audio dev board kit. It's got an image sensor camera, it's got an OV series, it's got, I guess, flash LEDs, a bunch of buttons, a headset audio connector for input and output. It's got a micro SD card. It's also got a built-in microphone. And on the other side, it's got a capacitive touch, power button, and micro USB, USB Type-C connector that can be used for just like USB or for programming it with the SWD dongle, which comes with it. And what this is a development board for video on the edge processing. So, oftentimes you're doing video or image processing, you're using something like a Raspberry Pi or a single board computer if you're not using a desktop, but that uses a lot of power. What if there was a processor that basically had like a built-in AI core that made processing audio and video really, really fast? And that's what this is. It's a chip that has, sorry, the next one, the Max 78,000, which is a special microcontroller from Maxim Now Analog Devices. It's a Cortex M4, but it's got also a RISC-V coprocessor, tons of GPIO, tons of memory, and this neural network accelerator. So what normally would be like a separate, on desktop, they call them CUDA, graphics devices, or, you'd have like a Coral stick or something that's built into the processor. And so it can do very fast, as fast as a, single board Linux computer, but without the power. And of course, the instant startup, can run off a battery, can go into low sleep mode, all stuff you expect from a microcontroller, lower cost, smaller size, instant boot up time, without the complexity of having like a full Linux setup. So this is the description of the chip. So on the left, it's a powerful chip, Cortex M4 with an FPU running at 100 megahertz. It's got half a mega flash, 120K of RAM. There's also a ton of RAM in the CNN, the accelerator. And that's because you can actually load the model and all of your data into RAM. So it like loads instantaneously. Like you don't have to worry about like caching in flash or like reading enough like external memory. Like a QSPI flash memory, because it's all in RAM, and you can execute from within RAM or update from RAM within one instruction cycle. You get really, really fast updates. You can see, almost a megabyte of data memory just for your image and model. Also, all the peripherals you expect: I2S, PWM, I2C, SPI UART. It's a full, it's a full Cortex M4. It just got this cool accelerator plugged onto the side. So here's more detail about the convolutional neural network. So, basically, when you're dealing with machine learning models, there's a lot of mathematics that you have to do. You have to like multiply these tensors together, and you convolve them to get data out that then goes through multiple layers. Every layer adds complexity and adds more time, but allows you to do more complicated training and inferences. But the inferences can take a really long time. So, folks who have done AI, if you have it on a desktop without GPU acceleration, it can be 10, 20, even 100 times slower than if you have a specialized piece of hardware that's really, really good at multiplying these big numbers, these big collection of numbers together. And, again, one of the nice things about this is that there's about a megabyte of RAM on the chip, specifically so that you can have everything in memory. When I did TensorFlow Lite for microcontrollers, we tried to do this hack where we would like burn to the flash and then like do execute in place. It's very complicated and kind of nasty. It meant that there was this high startup time because we had to like burn the model, which is quite large, into memory because we couldn't, into flash memory because we couldn't hold it into RAM. But that's one of the nice things about this chip is it's designed specifically for that kind of high RAM usage that you need, where you have to have a full image in your memory and you're manipulating it, and the model's in memory so you can load it very quickly. Only trade-off is like any AI project, you do have to train the model. Now it does come with a couple models, and I'll show you. Try to do a demo of one. But depending on what you want to detect visually or audibly, you're gonna have to train it. So you have to collect a lot of data and you have to do the training, in PyTorch, and then you can create the model, export it, and then program it into the microcontroller, the Max 78,000. And the training it's not extremely complicated, but it's not trivial, right? You need to have someone who kind of knows what they're doing. You have to have a lot of really good data, and you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to have fast processor, because creating the model is actually quite difficult and takes that difficult, like code wise, but complicated computationally. So you have to do it on a desktop computer. You can't do it on the chip. You have to do it separately and then load the model in. But PyTorch is a very popular device tool that's used for taking all this data and kind of smushing it around and figuring out what is the collection of layers you need to apply to the data you've got to be able to train and identify what you want to identify. So thankfully, ADI has a nice video series. I watched a bunch of it, taking you step by step how to do training, what kind of data is good, and then how to apply it to the Max 78,000, which is their core AI on the edge chip. And then when you program it, you're going to use the built-in DAP programmer that comes with the kit. You plug it into the USB-C. It's kind of cute and witty, and then you can select which processor you want to program in, because there's actually two processors inside. One is for video and one is for audio. So that way you can have, you could have one processor do both, but in this case, I think they wanted to demonstrate that the speed you can get from having the both commands split between the two. And also each one is pre-wired to the camera or to the I2S input. There's lots of example codes, and here's some models that they have. They have, this portrait, cat or dog detection. I showed you that before. Face ID, wildlife to detect like deers or cars, outdoors, or people. Digit detection, that's kind of the standard. Handwriting detection. But there's tutorials on how to take enough data that you can then train it. Also, training models, to be honest, is not, there's tutorials on how to do it. One nice thing is you don't have to use TensorFlow Lite for microcontrollers. You're actually, because it's the accelerated processor, you can actually use like TensorFlow Lite for real. But do be aware the model has to fit within the amount of RAM that's available on the Max 78,000. There's also a feather that they made for this chip. So, if you want to, once you've got the camera, you've got your prototype developed, and you want to maybe use some other feather compatible hardware to design your own prototypes and product before going to final manufacture. I thought this was a beautiful light blue board, and the dev kit is in stock. It says one in stock, but there's 417 in the factory, which means that they can get it to you within a day or two. So you can pick one up if you would like to experiment with video or audio recognition. So I thought we could do a quick demo on the overhead. Now, because it's a live demo, I'm going to say I hope it works. So I've got
Focus.
It's not focused on purpose because it's going to be focused on the screen. But this is Brad Pitt. Just believe me, I am Brad Pitt. Yeah. And the demo they've got is sorry, I have to remember to tilt up. There you go. So you can see.
You can see Brad Pitt.
You can see. Brad.
Yeah, you can see that it recognized Brad Pitt.
Yeah, there you go. You can see it. So it detects like famous people. It's trained on models of celebrities. So I'm sorry, it's a camera of a camera.
Camera of a camera of a camera of a camera.
I know, but and also it can detect words. So if I say up, down, oh no, there you go. 1 second. Let me get this closer. Show it. Up, down, left, right. 1, 2, 3.
It's pretty good.
She's actually pretty good compared to
on the edge.
On the edge. So check out this Devin. This is taken apart. It's got a battery. It's got these beautiful boards, the video stuff and the audio stuff. A very cute, compact little camera kit. Nice work.
Yeah. And that is this week's Eye on NPI.
Eye on NPI.
All right, we're gonna roll right into new products. Before we do, don't forget the code is Feather Sense. Ladyada, kick it.
New, 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 new.
Okay.
Okay, first up, we have in stock the Grove feathering. I think we announced this before the end of last year, and then people went on holiday. If you have Grove sensors and devices and you want to plug them into something that's a feather, you're in luck. We now have a feather window, make it super easy. There are 3 ports that can give you analog inputs, A0, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, 1 UART, and the analog pins can also be digital, and then 2 I2C ports. Plus, there is a STEM QT port. So it's worked with any feather that we've got. We don't necessarily have code for every Grove device, but Seed does in Arduino. So as long as you're programming in Arduino or in MicroPython, you're good to go. So a nice little mechanical adapter for a very popular brand of accessories.
So,
Next up, we have an update to the surface transducer. For some reason, couldn't get these during the part shortage either, but now we have one. So a surface transducer, it's like a speaker, but it doesn't have a cone. Instead, you press it up against a surface and it'll turn that flat surface into a speaker. So we've had these before, so check out the other demo videos for this product. And now it just mechanically looks a little different. It doesn't have wires soldered in, unfortunately. You'll have to solder your own wires, but it does come with 3M tape on it, so you can stick it onto your surface. It's a nice, strong 3-watt amplifier, surface transducer.
next up.
Next up, we have an update to the super large breadboard. This is the last board. This is the last breadboard that's getting premiumized. So we now get these with really high quality clips, so they don't like grab stuff and don't let go. They're nice and buttery smooth. Also a nice black silk screen instead of blue for the negative rail, which I like because it's red and black. It's the colors you expect. Otherwise, there's a gigantic breadboard, but definitely gonna be more useful now that's premium because you can stick big chips in them and dead boards, and they're not going to bend the pins when you try to push them in or pull them out.
Okay, next up.
Also, an update. This finally is back in stock. This is a really cool multi-voltage power adapter. And I just love that on the side you can select different voltages. So the big update, it used to be 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9, 12. Now it's 3, 5. Not 4.5, but 5, which honestly is a lot more useful.
I need
because
this. I need this all the time.
Yeah, it's like super useful. And it comes with all the plugs, positive and negative. So this is like, I've got like a label printer that does like 9-volt center negative. It's like, who has one of those kicking around, right? I like that you can flip it around between positive and center, and then just slide on the side, which voltage you want. These are quite popular, and I'm glad they're back in stock.
All right. Also, we've got motors.
By request, somebody wanted a double-ended motor. So this is a bi-metal gear motor. So if you look here, see how some of the gears are metal and some are plastic. The high torque gears are metal. The end of the gear train is metal, but the beginning of it is plastic because it's a little lighter, less noisy. Plastic is less noisy than metal. But it still gives you that durability of metal for the high torque. It's a 1:90 gear ratio. So it's got a higher torque TT motor. Using a lot of robotics, and now it's got 2 ends. So you can have you can have a encoder on one end and a wheel on the other, or you have 2 wheels for some reason, what have you. You're good to go with this bi-metal high torque TT motor.
Okay, solar panels.
Solar panels. So from Voltaic, they're going to try to get to us. They're bigger panels, but in the meantime, they're having some. They're moving a factory, and there was, I think, a fire at one or something. I don't know, but doesn't matter. We've got these beautiful small solar panels. We've got a 2-volt, 3-watt, a 5-volt 3-watt, and I think a 5-volt 6-watt. So these are, this is okay. Let me read this. This is a 0.7 watt, a 0.3 watt. So it's 0.3, 0.3, and 0.7. They're small panels compared to the quarter, you can see, but they're very durable. They've got this like nice plastic coating on them.
Yeah, Voltaic makes that stuff.
Yeah, they're making the highest quality.
I have a Voltaic suitcase laptop bag.
It still
I
works.
think it's like 15, 20 years old. It's awesome, and it's just like.
And they have like the highest
still
quality.
works.
So like these are not cheap solar cells. These are like 22% efficiency solar cells. So the 2-volt is not going to work with our LiPo charger board. I do mention that in the part description. It's meant for people who are doing like like power harvesting and stuff. But the two other ones are 5 or 6 volt. They will give you a voltage that you can use to charge a battery very slowly. Or if you have some electronics that's okay with a slightly higher voltage, maybe there's a regulator inside, you could power it directly. I just thought these are nice, like little solar panels.
All right, and then the star of the show tonight, besides you, Ladyada, our customers, our team, our community, and everyone who shares and tries to uplift us all through knowledge and more, is the Feather Sense.
Wow, but it's big, expectations for this Feather Sense. So this Feather Sense has been updated. It's back in stock. It's been out of stock for like over a year. It's been a little sad, but now we're happy again because we get to stock this one more time. This is our feather with an NR52 840, really powerful, but also very low power Bluetooth microcontroller that we have Arduino and CircuitPython support for. It's got packed full of sensors, and a bunch of them were impossible to get through the part shortage. And we finally got enough of them that we could get this board back in stock. The only chip that had to be changed completely because it's completely discontinued is the accelerometer gyro. The LSM6DS33 no longer made. So instead, we have the LSM6DS3TR, which is actually a slightly better chip anyways. So we swapped that out. I still got all the other sensor, the magnetometer, the light, color, and proximity, humidity, diametric pressure, temperature, and PDM microphone, all stuck on a board in feather format with some QSPI memory. It's like a lovely little board for sensing and doing Bluetooth, a little wireless sensor platform for Bluetooth and low power usage. So check it out, back in stock. Very excited.
Alrighty, and that is
New.
okay. Don't forget to go to Feather Sense. We have a couple questions lined up. You can put them in Discord. If you put them in there already, I got them. We'll get to those in a few moments. Before we get to the questions, we're going to do some top secret. Okay, Ladyada, what is this?
We had a request from Discord to stock this. So speaking of LSM6DS series chips, this is the LSM6DS-V, which is used for VR and like OIS, like optical image sensor stabilization. It has a built-in sensor fusion. It has the same footprint as our LSM6DS 032 or whatever, or DSOX. So I was like, oh, great, just swap the chip, and I'm going to make a prototype and try it out, see how this chip goes. I also made a board that I need a lot. It's something that takes NeoPixel signal in and drives a powerful LED or analog LED strip. So like the NeoPixels, they're bright, but sometimes you have like a gigantic strip that takes RGB analog common anode, or you have like a 3-watt LED. This is a little board that has a WS2811, takes that signal, inverts it, flips it, turns it upside down, drives it through some powerful N-channel FETs, output to a terminal block.
Yeah, and like you're just like, oh, this is just like just watching Ask an Engineer, and it's like, wait, what's this? This is a really cool top secret new
Yeah,
product.
this is from 2 years ago. I started this and I couldn't get the power regulator chips, and I was like designing and redesigning. I couldn't take it anymore. I shelved it and said I'm going to get back to this when I can get components again. So this is a floppy disk shaped floppy controller.
Controller,
So you can say flop, and it's got a little floppy bunny, some artwork that you and Bruce designed
Yeah.
that I found on the base camp. I just slapped it on there.
Yeah, so this is a floppy disk controller, an open source one, and it's going to help a lot of people do a lot of fun archive work.
Yes, because here's the thing. Like I go and visit my parents, and they've got all these boxes of floppy disks, and I wanted to like a standalone floppy disk reader that would
Yeah.
be able to dump the floppy disks.
So we wanted to make it easy. There's like really intense communities around archiving stuff that kind of chases people out, and we're like, well, let's make something that can bring everyone
Yeah.
together in some way, because there's like not open source, so it's going to be all open source. Everybody will be able to make and share hacks and mods with it. There won't be anything like weird that you have to like buy NDA stuff just to copy a floppy. So anyways,
I want to copy some floppy.
Yeah. and that's
Anyways, there's a lot of stuff. Which I tried about a little bit on this lady. This is just the first prototype, but
Yeah.
you'll see it. We started with the floppy feather wing, and then this was going to be coming out right afterwards, and I didn't make it.
So, there is an expiration on floppies. Eventually it'll get harder and harder to copy them. So
Yeah.
we also want to make a tool for people to get all the smarts and all the weird things that were developed over the years off those devices. We check out the Prince floppy. It's one of the things that we wanted to do. We imaged the prints floppy with the font on it. Just type prints floppy Adafruit. You'll see some of the things we did. That's top secret.
All right. A lot going on.
Okay, rolling into questions
Okay,
right
let's get
away.
into it.
Yeah, we're gonna get in and get out. How do you create a driver to control NeoPixel on other processors that you didn't create, like an IMX8M? How can I modularize the pulses for NeoPixel on other Linux-based processors do not have a library with PWM?
It's very hard, and that's why I created the Stemma I2C to NeoPixel converter board, because this comes up a lot. In fact, in the description it says
yeah.
this is specific.
I was going to say this sounds like an industry plant.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
We have a thing that plugs in
Yeah.
that does this.
Yeah, and it's I2C to NeoPixel. It can drive like I think 250 NeoPixels. It's not super fast because it goes over I2C, but I2C is a lot more universal. And if you're using Blinka or whatever I2C, library that comes with your microcontroller, you just basically tell it how long the strip is, and you write the data, and then you tell it pulse the data out, and then it writes it. And I have some example code in Arduino and in CircuitPython that people can get started with.
Adafruit, we have a thing that plugs into a
We
thing.
have a thing that does the thing.
Okay, I just want to know if it's possible to overwrite an FM frequency. You did some jamming.
Yes, but not legally.
Okay, good for
You
noise.
can get FM transmitters and amplify them, and you can do it. But you have to overpower it. FM in particular, that you have to lock in on the stereo signal, and so it's a little tougher than AM.
Yeah, remember those things that would plug into the top of an iPad that would, or sorry, an iPod
Yeah.
that would broadcast your sound, and you would tune into it on your car radio.
Yeah.
Like that.
Actually, after the floppy, I should do like a cassette reading thing.
Maybe. This is just a compliment. I love how most redesigns have stemma connectors built in, making the I2C so much easier to hit the ground running with the project. It makes iteration faster. Thanks.
I know, that's the goal.
Would Adafruit's USB isolator serve as a temporary solution for keeping my ham radio from disconnecting from my laptop when I tune in a transmit?
Maybe. It depends on what's actually happening. If it's affecting the USB, it probably won't, because you'll just interrupt it earlier. Maybe get a USB cable. Well, you can shield it. Maybe your USB cable isn't shielded. This is tough. It's really tough to know exactly what's going on. You can try creating a ground shield around your USB cable, like by hand with some tinfoil and a ground strip. That's the first thing I would recommend, but it's tough to know exactly like how it's disconnecting, what's causing it.
Can the transducer also work as a microphone?
No, that's not really. No.
All right.
It's very heavy.
For Adafruit _display _shapes versus Vector IO, when would you choose each library if drawing one circle or line versus 1,000 circles?
That's a good question. This is actually a great one for the Help with CircuitPython Discord. I'm going to tell you, ask Foamy Guy, because he knows this graphics stuff so well.
And also,
I don't want to tell you the wrong thing.
You could probably tune into Deep Dive with Scott and ask this Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Scott would probably be able to tell you as well. But Help with CircuitPython channel with Discord. Unless you want more, could probably guess, but that's the right place to go. And if I'm allowed 2 questions, yep. Is learning Spice for schematic simulation worth it, or is it better just to order mill PCBs and see if they work?
It depends on what you're doing. If you are working on really kind of intense analog RF stuff, simulation I think definitely is going to help you, because you're dealing with analog circuitry, and you want to get the filter just right. You got to tweak inductors and capacitors and resistors, and maybe that's easier than doing a lot of linear equation solutions. For digital circuits, I don't know. Unless it's just like pure TTL logic, but a lot of people are doing stuff with microcontrollers these days, and you're not going to simulate that. So I think for a filter, I think using Spice could be useful, just if you're like, hey, I want to get the Bodhi plot out. I would also just build it. If it's less than 10 megahertz, just build it on a breadboard.
Okay. And then this one's really easy. How do I get involved with making learn guides? Who should I reach out to? No one. Guess what? We have Playground now.
You can do it without us.
You don't need us.
You don't need us.
We made this so you can do it. So if you go to learn.adafruit.com and then click Playground,
and you
check it out.
Free account. Look at all these guides.
Look at all these.
Look at these.
Look at these. Look at these. Look at these. Look at these. Look at these. Look at these. Look at these.
Guides.
Right here on guide.
Write your own guide.
Yeah, and then we have a nice little graphic. We have all these things, and then these are all the you can do this IKEA thing.
Fort Finnegan.
Yeah, there's plenty of like fun projects to do. Look at all this.
You can make a group.
Yeah, we have like 300 plus guides already that the community is doing, and we also made this so there's no ads. You don't have to log in to view all of the steps and everything. We'll sell your info. We don't track.
This is ad blocked, by the way. This is what it looks
yeah,
like.
you know, it's weird going to our websites and the little ad trackers is like, hey, how come you guys aren't looking? How come you guys aren't looking right?
Is something wrong with your next?
Someone was asking about round LCDs. Yeah, check out our site. We have some of those. And then question, what are you excited for 2024? New chips, etc.
Yes, there's some new chips. Can't talk about. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I'm most excited about these Ada boxes I'm designing.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be done with all the redesigned revisions. And I'm really glad I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do new stuff.
It's a builder year because we can get all the things we need together. And I'd say the most exciting thing is we have a chance together to show the technology world. If you do hardware, open source software, and open source hardware, I think we can set a really good example of what it's like to have a group of people that are motivated by, you can run a business, but we're also motivated by something bigger than all of us, which is sharing information. It doesn't make sense to redesign a power supply every time. It doesn't make sense to redesign everything over and over again. Open source hardware and open source software really accelerates humans. The analogy sometimes that I say is like, yeah, I guess you could like invent every recipe from scratch, but you can also get a cookbook and get the knowledge of other people that kind of learn how to cook the thing the right way and temperature and find the right ingredients and all that. And you get to become a better cook. But the best part about cooking just isn't the doing it and all the gadgets and all the things, is you get to share a meal with people. And that kind of is the thing that happens with open source hardware and software, is in the end you get to share it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we have a shot, and I think we have to set a good example, because let me tell you something, folks, it's shitty out there. It's terrible. It's never been worse for people who do technology in so many different ways, but that's an opportunity to make it better or show a different path. And even some of the people that I really admire, they're cranky, they're burnt out, they're mean, they hate themselves. No, they hate themselves, they hate everyone, they hate computers every day. I hate computers. I'm so sorry that I did it to you, but there is another way. There's another way. And the other way is like, there are good things that are going on with technology. And I think the people in this community are the ones that are gonna show by example. It's gonna be a weird year for sure. This is one of the, I think, more positive things you can do with technology and your smarts. So thanks for joining us. That's what I'm looking for, because we have a chance. Like, that's what the thing I'm looking forward to is we have a shot. We have a shot. How often do you get this where you have a shot to bring people together to make and share something? Not that many times or chances. So last one will be, oh, there's a follow-up. How do you recommend creating this driver, PWM duty cycle modulation? If yes, based on pulse duration.
They're trying to ask very technical questions. I don't know your processor. I would really not suggest. I mean, you can look at other designs and do it, but please do not keep asking.
Okay. Any more ESP32 product coming down the line?
So we have the ESP32 Itsy Bitsy.
Okay.
I showed a preview of it.
Alrighty, and with that, I think we're going to call it. Those are all the questions. Thank you, everybody. Them's our questions. That was our show for tonight. Don't forget the code is FeatherSense. There's that free stuff. Don't forget to check adabox.com for the updates as we're shipping more Ada boxes. Yep.
Address.
And we thank you very much. This has been an Adafruit production. We will see everybody next week. Here is your moment of Zener.
Bye, everybody.